Hi guys, this is Jenny from Create Right Meow and also King Cardiva Dolls on Instagram. Today I'm going to be doing a Abby from Monster High makeover, and I'm going to be making her into Liara T'soni from Mass Effect. This is for the Retro Dolls US collab for November, which is sci-fi themed. So I was trying to think of something to do for it, and I had lots of ideas because I love sci-fi, but my fiance actually suggested that I do Abby into a Liara because he loves Mass Effect, and actually I loved the first game too, so I was totally down for it. This is where I'm just removing her hair. It actually wasn't bad hair, so I tied it off so I could use it in like another reroute if I need to. I have a whole box of doll hair that I have used for other dolls, so it's nice to have a good stock for it. Unfortunately, Liara does not have hair, if you're familiar with the character, so I wasn't able to use any Retro Dolls US hair for her, but that's okay. So yeah, you can see I've just removed her hair and pulled it out from the inside of her head. It wasn't really necessary because I'm not doing an actual reroute or anything, but honestly, I just sort of like doing it. Like, it's really satisfying to pull out the glue chunks in the hair. So, and that's my cat. He likes to get in the way when I am working on everything. Yeah, I've noticed a lot of doll artists seem to have tuxedo cats. Is this a thing? Like, I can't remember them all, but like watching the videos, I've noticed like so many people. I'm like, that. Oh, that looks like my cat. Oh, that looks like my cat. I mean, I think Delightful has 2 tuxedo cats and a black cat. I have a black cat too. So I have my tuxedo cat, my black cat, and then a fluffy little prince named Lycan. But anyways, what I'm doing is just prepping the doll. And I mean, there's so many videos out there of how to prep the dolls that I'm not really going to go into it, other than to say, you know, to remove the head, I use boiling water to make the vinyl soft, and then I pull it off the body. And then I use acetone, 100% pure acetone, to remove the factory paint. So I do that, and then I sand the body. And sometimes I just use the sander, but actually my sanding block is getting pretty worn and I need a new one, and I didn't have time to go get one, so I got out my new handy Dremel. Still figuring out how the heck to use this thing and sort of just winging it. I think I've breathed in a lot of plastic because I should probably get like a mask or something. But I mean, it is pretty fun to use and takes way less time, especially for removing like the molded on like underpants and stuff, which I'm not a fan of, even if like they're hidden under armor, which they do end up being with this repaint. I just don't like them, so I get rid of them and make my own, although I didn't for this one. But yeah, this was a totally new experience for me because I've never done a doll with like no hair, you know, like instead of hair, some strange headpiece, you know, like the Juice Gorgon guy, he's got the snakes, but I've always removed that stuff and just gone with hair. So this was a new challenge, but fun. And I've never done like a body armor suit either. And yeah, she's got like a sort of a space, I don't know how to describe it, a spacey lab jacket. She's a doctor. So I used to play World of Warcraft like so much for the first, I don't know, 10, 11 years it was out. I had a disgusting amount of hours played, like in the thousands. But Anyways, so one of the first doll repaint videos that I watched was actually Delightful's repaint of Lady Sylvanas, who's one of my favorite characters in World of Warcraft universe. And in that one, she went over how to make the body armor using like fun foam sheets that you heat up over a candle, and then you can kind of mold them to the shape you wanted. So you'll see, well, actually I didn't record my process at all, but I will link her video down below for the armor, because it was total trial and error for me. Like, I had no idea how it was going to work going into it, so I figured the repaint itself was already long enough that maybe I just do that part off camera, but I do show the armor like at the end of the video. But yeah, it was a really fun process, using the fun foam to make the different shapes of the armor. And then I wanted it all to be removable, so I used a lot of like clasps and Velcro, things like that. So you can see here, like, I've built it up pretty good with the hot glue. And one of the cool things with hot glue is you can use like the tip of the gun to sort of like shape it and mold it once it's dry, like, or once it hardens. And you can smooth it out, which is important because Liara's like head ridges are like, they're very smooth looking. Epoxy sculpt would have been so much faster, and it probably would have looked better, but I go with what I've got. But yeah, I used a lot of reference pictures that I found online, and then also some really good cosplayers, just to sort of see, because her head has a lot of detail, like far more than I noticed playing the games. Whenever that was a long time ago that I was playing Mass Effect 1. I had the very hard decision. I had to choose between Liara and Kaidan as my significant other. I went with Kaidan. Sorry, Liara. I'm making up for it by making a doll version of you. But yeah, it was a super fun game. And then I didn't play the second one very much, and then I only played the starting of the third one, just because I was into other things at that point in time. But when Mass Effect Andromeda came out, I was super excited, and we got it like the day it came out, and I made a character, and I was like, this character looks awful. And I just couldn't get into it, unfortunately. And I know they've gone back and sort of made the characters look better, but I just, yeah, I didn't play it. My fiance did, though. So I think that's why he was like, you should make a Liara. You can see here, it looks like I painted it, and I did off camera, and then I was like, oh, that was a bad choice. So I had to like sand it off, because it just, I have a hard time with acrylic paints on vinyl. I feel like maybe they're just my paints that I have, they're not good enough quality, but they're so like chunky. They always have like, you know, little bits and stuff in them, and I prefer the smooth look of the pastels on the vinyl with Mr. Super Clear. So I got it all off of there and then just went in with my pastels. So I use a few different kinds of pastels. I have the, oh man, I'm probably going to butcher the name, Mayungu soft pastels, or chalk pastels that I got from Amazon. And then I also have a set of Faber-Castell soft pastels that I got from Michaels. And then I also got a doll customizing lot on eBay not long ago. And it had, oh my god, I'm going to butcher this name too, Schleich pastels, but they're the ones that are like super expensive. So they're my favorite now. But they're mostly in like flesh tones, so I didn't use them for Liara because she's blue. So, but yeah, those are the pastels I use. And then I have a variety of pencil crayons too. I've actually handed off my first set of watercolor pencil crayons to my fiance's daughter because she's starting to do doll customs too, which is pretty cool. So she has like my first set because I've gotten, you can see off to the side there, it's my Faber-Castell watercolors, and then I have a set of Valkyrie watercolor pencils, and they're not as good, but they are also very cheap. But the thing is, they have like 48 different colors, and that was what I wanted them for, because as great as the Faber-Castells are, I don't have them in very many colors, and I haven't been able to afford a better set yet. That is on the list. Eventually, I will get every color. You can see here, I'm just going through and like blushing and blushing and blushing, adding more and more pastels and building it up. And then every time the camera sort of cuts, that's when I would like go out and give her another spray of Mr. Super Clear, which is also super hard to find in Canada. So like Epoxy Sculpt and Mr. Super Clear have been the hardest things for me to come across. Mr. Super Clear, I ended up like I searched Google for hours trying to find somewhere in Canada that sold some. And finally I came across this little hobby shop in Hamilton, and I ordered, you know, like a couple cans, and it got here super fast, and I was so like pumped, like, yeah, I finally have Mr. Super Clear, and it made a huge difference. Like it works so much better than the Krylon spray that I was using, just because it does have more of like a skin texture to it rather than the Krylon, which it's not shiny, but it's not skin-ish, you know? I don't know if you know, but anyways, so I ordered these few cans, and then a couple of people had asked, like, oh, like, you know, I've been looking for Mr. Super Clear in Canada too, where did you get it? And so I told them, and then when I went back to the site, they were sold out, and they've been sold out ever since. So I had to find a different site. So this one I found one in BC, and I ordered all the cans they had in stock. And then I got down to my last can and was like, oh no, what am I gonna do? So if anyone knows of like a place where you can buy Mr. Super Clear online in Canada for not like, the thing is, I don't want to spend a fortune on it because I go through it like crazy. So like $10 a can with like $10 shipping, $20 shipping even. I would be in your debt if you could let me know where to get that, because once this stuff's gone, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, because I can't go back to the Krylon now that I've tried Mr. Super Clear. I can't do it. I gotta say, like, doing the contouring for the faces is my favorite part of doll painting. I just love, like, bringing new levels of life to the little faces and stuff. And the pastels just work so well for it. But yeah, this isn't the first Abby that I've repainted, actually. One of my very, very first repaints was Jester, which is from Critical Role, which is like a bunch of voice actors who sit around and play Dungeons and Dragons on Twitch, and it's like my favorite thing. But Jester is a tiefling with blue skin, so one of my first ones was Abby that I repainted into Jester, which she's still, I think she's one of my only ones from that era, you know, back in the spring when I started this, that I still have, and I'm still like super happy with. Like, she worked out really well, and it was so cool because Liam O'Brien and Laura Bailey both liked my post on Instagram, and I know probably no one listening to this has any idea what I'm talking about, but if you do, you'll know how cool that is. So other than like I did a Batgirl, but other than her, I think this is the only like actual character that I've tried to do other than Jester, that I'm not just like making up my own characters, which I mean is my favorite thing to do. Oh wait, no, I also did Sailor Moon, which worked out really well. Sorry, Sailor Moon, I forgot about you. But the rest of them have all been like my own characters that I've created. So working from a character that already exists is different, but it's almost easier because you have references for how things should look, you know? I get caught up a lot in like, you know, just like having a direction when I'm making up my own characters. What is her outfit gonna look like? What hair color would work for her? Like, you know? So if I'm just working from references, it's a little easier in that way. So you can see here, I've just sprayed her body with Mr. Super Clear, and then I'm just going through and adding like blushing, like a darker blue in the shadow places of the body, and then like a lighter blue or a white where there'd be highlights. The thing I'm using is super cool. I didn't know this was a thing, but it was actually in the doll lot that I got, or not the doll lot, the doll customizing lot that I got off eBay from the UK. And it's like a motorized eraser. And I freaking love it. Like, it's so handy, especially on the vinyl. You can see here, it's like, wait a second, isn't her face darker than it was before? This is where off camera I gave up and I just added paint to the like the tentacle things, because I was like, this pastel is not, like, I was gonna have to use so much to finally like build up the color on them, so I just went over them with paint, and then now I'm going in with the pastels and adding the highlights and the lowlights and stuff. But this is where it really started to like come together, and I was like starting to get like really excited, like, oh, it's actually looking like Liara. So I've definitely noticed, like, the dolls that have repaint videos that go along with them, like, I always end up just like appreciating the work so much more when I can see the whole process, because like a picture, yeah, might be worth like 1,000 words, but a video is worth all the words. I don't know. I don't think that's a saying, but you know, like when you can see the whole process from the original doll, when they have the blank face, and then like, you know, getting the new hair, or in this case tentacles, and you know, like when you can actually see it come to life. I find those are always the dolls that I'm like, oh wow, that is amazing. Like, and I mean, a lot of them that I just see pictures of, I still think are amazing, but the videos, it's something I've definitely like wanted to do ever since I stumbled into the doll customizing world. Um, so this is sort of like, I've tried to do a few of them in the past, but it's actually a lot harder than I anticipated to do a video while also doing some form of art. And you wouldn't think, like, I honestly thought it's like, oh, you just like throw on your camera on your phone and just go to town. Well, you know, and it just records your whole process, but it's not that simple. Like, I'm really bad for just like, I don't know, getting the urge to work when I'm like sitting in bed, and then like I just grab whatever I'm working on, and then I'm working on it in bed, or like at the kitchen table, or at my mom's house, you know. So it was difficult to set up an actual little station for myself to do these videos, because that is necessary. I've noticed. So I have a lot more respect for the people who do the videos, especially like Poppin Atler, Marina, her channel, because she does like the new ones every single week, and I don't know, I'd love to be able to do that, but we'll see. Because I definitely do like doll repaints every week, but I'm not sure if I'd be able to actually record them and you know, produce them and everything. And I have noticed like the doll repaint videos where they actually like describe what they're doing throughout the videos, and like talk about it and stuff. I like those a lot better than the ones that are just to music. Like, I just I don't know, it just like sort of keeps my focus a little bit more. But if that is just me, honestly, I would love to hear from anyone who has any tips or ideas, or do you like hearing me jabber on while my repaint video is going, or would you prefer I just shut up and play some music? Because I am gonna do more of these. Like, that is the goal, is to, you know, take this thing that I am obsessed with, doll customizing, and put it on YouTube because it's definitely something I'm passionate about. My family members, some of them think maybe a little too passionate about, but I don't know. Like, I've always loved faces. I've always loved doing portraits. I've always loved making characters. Like, that's like, to go back to the World of Warcraft or Dungeons and Dragons or Mass Effect. You know, I've always loved creating a character that then, you know, you play and then has like a personality and you can develop them and stuff. And dolls are sort of a way to do that. Like, you bring, you know, a new character into these new little dolls. Yeah, you can see here, I'm just going in now with the pencil crayons to do the finer details. So like line above the eye and like irises and stuff. And I know like some repaint artists, they go in and they only use pastels, or they only use watercolor pencils, or they only use acrylic paint. But like, so far, everything I've tried, I prefer the pastels for the base and the contouring, and then white acrylic paint just to make the eyes pop, and then the pencil crayons for the finer details. That's what I've found works best for me, and I think most doll repainters do it that way. But I mean, yeah, it's just what you're comfortable with, and I've become comfortable with these materials. So yeah, this is another one of the collabs. I did one for fall as well in October from Retro Dolls US, and it was just to make a fall themed doll. So I made my red-haired leafy queen, and she turned out really cool. She's got like a big shimmery leaf gown, and I rerouted her with a whole bunch of fall colored hair I had left over from other dolls. So she's pretty cool. I still have her. But yeah, I hadn't gotten my retro doll hair yet in the mail, so I couldn't use it. Also, I didn't order fall colors. Oh, yeah, there is my cat, Tux, getting in the way, sitting in my pastels. Yep, that's what he does. But, you know, he's the sweetest. He'll just decide, oh, hey, stop what you're doing. Your cat needs attention now. And you can see that's totally what I do. I took a little break, put the doll down, and gave him some snuggles. And then once he falls asleep, I just carry him over to the bed and cover him up with a blanket, and then he just sleeps there for the day. Maybe I spoil him, but he's a good cat. He makes me very happy. So after my cat snuggle, I get back at it. And yeah, I like going in with the white to really make the highlights on the faces pop, like the white pencil crayon. So I'll apply it, and then I just sort of like smudge it out with a Q-tip, or a smudge stick if I have one handy, but a Q-tip works too. Or sometimes just my finger if I don't have either of those on hand. But yeah, I love bringing like the different like dimension, or new levels of dimension to the face. You know, making the highlights like lighter and the lowlights darker, and really making it look like a face rather than just that of a doll. I recently finished the doll portrait versions of my fiance and I, and for his I actually went in with the Dremel and carved an old G.I. Joe face to try to look like his face. And I think it worked out pretty well. It creeps people out, which I think is a good sign that it looks like someone. And yeah, I used one of the Barbie fashionistas for mine, and then I used the Retro Doll US, or actually it was Retro Doll UK hair that I got in that doll customizing lot from eBay. And it was like saran hair, which was the first time I've actually done a reroute with it. Usually I do yarn. I love just like how easy yarn is. It's yeah. But yeah, I did the fashionista for myself, and she's one of like the plus size Barbie sort of things, and I didn't realize that like she's got like totally different feet than other Barbies, and like the Barbie clothes that I had, like they actually don't fit her at all, which was a little disappointing because I was looking forward to just like, from collecting all these Monster Highs to do the repaints, I've come across like there's always Barbie stuff mixed in, so I have a huge lot of like Barbie clothes and shoes and accessories and stuff that I was thinking I could use for my own personal doll, but most of the stuff won't fit, unfortunately, so I'm going to have to go back and make her an outfit at some point. But I wanted to get these collabs done because I really love them. Like, so far the doll making community, like, I haven't come across any negativity, which is amazing because I don't know if I should tell the internet this, but I'm very sensitive. So, you know, like I've always had like a bit of like an online presence, like whether it was like my gaming blog or my gaming channel or whatever. But it would be like, you know, I'd have 300 people tell me something was awesome, and I'd have one person tell me, wow, that sucks. And I'd be like, oh, it sucks. And it would, you know, make me not as motivated to do it anymore. I haven't come across that at all in the doll making community. Like, so far it's just been like support and people reaching out to say they like my work and like want to work with me, and it's just been amazing. It's been like so encouraging. So I really love that, and I really love that I think it's Shannon from the Retro Dolls US. She does these. Oh, and then the Sugar Lump gift shop. They do the collabs, and you know, they connect all these doll artists to each other, and then they do the swaps and stuff too. And yeah, I just think that's really cool, and it's really cool that everyone's so nice and so like supportive, and yeah, it's just been really encouraging. And I think that has to do with why I'm still so into this, like so into doll repainting and doll customizing. Because yeah, I mean, I've gotten into a lot of things in my life. I've always been very artsy, so I have done, oh man, let's see if I can think of it in order. So it started with making, like drawing, like I was drawing Dungeons and Dragons characters for like me and my group of players and stuff like that. And then I was drawing World of Warcraft characters, and I was like doing that and like thinking, oh, I can sell these portraits of their World of Warcraft characters, and that didn't work out. So then I was like, oh, I'll make World of Warcraft figures like out of clay. So I was doing that for a while, and that didn't work out. And then then I started doing like random, like I would do portraits or people's animals or people's cars, stuff like that. And I still sort of will do that on the side for like people I know, but I don't I don't really like doing that because I find people think they know what they want until you start doing it, and then it's like this whole other like can of worms that you've opened, and you know, it's hard to communicate what you want to someone, and then for me to produce that and get it to come across how you want it, it's a little much for me, so I don't do that too much anymore. But yeah, and then I got into oil paintings because I started watching Bob Ross on Netflix. So I was doing oil paintings for a while, and that was really fun. But like, I think I'd always just sort of like get burned out, or I'd just get sick of what I was doing. I also painted beach stones for a while. I was making mandalas. I've written books. I've done a lot of stuff. But the thing is, I always sort of move on from it because it ends up not working out. And I think doll customizing, other than writing my novel, which took a whole year, doll customizing has been the only thing that I have stuck with this long. Which, I think it's pretty significant because, you know, it's still, I still love it. I'm not, you know, getting burned out or like doing it less often or anything. I'm actually doing it more often, and I'm, you know, trying to expand the ways I do it. So share it on YouTube and, you know, make a Facebook group and teach my fiance's daughter to do it, and, you know, so hopefully, you know, it's something I'm going to enjoy doing forever. But eventually, I think with most doll customizers, my goal is to sculpt and create my own like BJD, and someday get like a 3D printer and start like making them and selling them to other customizers. And yeah, there's a few people I follow that do that. That's just, I mean, their stuff is like amazing. So you can see here I'm going back like and adding more shading to the body, and it's about this point that I was like, ooh, I've gotta really darken the body because the head was a lot darker. And I think that sucks when, you know, the head and the neck are different colors. Like it's I don't like that. So I was doing my best to fix it. And I do sometimes, I don't know if you noticed, I go in with the pencil crayons just to add like, you know, it builds up color faster, and because I am limited in my Mr. Super Clear availability here, I do use the pencil crayon to sort of build up the color faster, so I have to do less coats. Also, I have to go out on my balcony, and I don't have like a ventilator yet, so I just hold my breath while I'm out there, and then I run away, which is not good. Because yeah, it's not good for you to breathe that stuff, and every now and then I get a little bit of it. I can't hold my breath that well. But yeah, I just love like how simple it is, like how quick it is to just add so much detail to like the bodies and the faces. Like, you know, it goes from something you're looking at, you know, like just a plastic doll body, a plastic doll face or whatever, and then you can like bring so much more realism to it, which I think is part of the reason I love it so much. And I mean, I've always been crazy about dolls. Like, I remember being, you know, like a 14-year-old girl, and my friends all being like, oh, we're going to the mall, we're gonna follow around this cute boy from school, are you gonna come with us? And I'd be like, nah, I'm gonna stay home and play with my Barbies by myself. Like, I was just so into like, you know, creating these personalities for them, and then making storylines and characters and plot twists, and and I'm sure it's like, you know, it's just the combo of like me being like a writer and like loving like being a storyteller and loving sharing my stories and stuff, and then so it was like playing out stories but with my Barbie dolls. And then, you know, like once I got into Dungeons and Dragons, that sort of became a thing of the past, because then suddenly it was like I was making these characters and playing out their stories in my imagination, which is I was gonna say more of an adult thing to do. but maybe not. Yeah, I say a lot that I'm the worst adult. I play with dolls all the time. I yeah, I'm not very good at being an adult, but I don't think that matters. Because yeah, who cares? As long as you're happy, as long as you're doing stuff that makes you happy, and the ones you care about are happy with what you're doing, like, which yeah, like my fiance's kids, they love the dolls and stuff. And I've made them like doll houses, and they each have a doll version of themselves now that they really like. And even the little boy, you know, he wasn't sure at first, but now it's like for his birthday, he wants a Mario doll, which I'm definitely going to try to do in the next week because that's when his birthday is. But yeah, there's only a week, so I do want to get working on that. And then I do have one more collab to do, collab doll, and it's remaking a Monster High to be my favorite Barbie. And my favorite Barbie growing up was cheerleader Courtney. I'm not sure if anyone knows who that is, but yeah, she was like one of the younger sister dolls, but like not Barbie's little sister. She was like someone else's little sister. And yeah, she had like a purple and blue outfit and little pom-poms, and so yeah, she's the one I'm planning on redoing at some point this month. We're only halfway through. I've got lots of time. Like I said, I do like a doll a week pretty much. I think I'm coming close to like the 50 doll mark, but a lot of like the ones I did in the beginning, I'm gonna redo them, so I've just like taken their faces off and like set their clothing aside and stuff to do them at a later date, to redo them, because I know I can do better now. Sorry for going off camera a bit there. I did my best. You can see I taped off an area, and I was like, this is the space I need to do the repaint in, and then I kept forgetting as I got into what I was doing and really focused. But yeah, you can see like the face is really coming along, and I was like really happy with the blues. Like I wasn't really sure how it would look because I haven't done a blue face since, you know, my like one of my first dolls. So, but yeah, I was really happy with it. So now I'm just going in with like the white acrylic paint to do like the little highlights in the eyes and in the corners of the eyes and stuff. And I have my like impossibly thin brush that like you can barely even see on camera. And I add just some like highlights to the lips. And some last minute darkening of a couple things. And then yeah, off camera I do like I give her another couple coats of Mr. Super Clear just to really protect the face up, and then I go in with the glossy varnish just to do like the eyes and the lips. Oh, but first Liara has a bunch of, you know, space freckles. I don't know, like she's very like freckly, like dark blues and whites. So I went in with the acrylic paint and I was just sort of like spraying it like off my brush onto her face, because I find like I do like doing them like with my pencil crayons sometimes because you have a lot of control over where they go, and this is a very random way to do it. But if somebody is supposed to have or does have a lot of freckles, then I do it the random way because it does look a lot more realistic than if you like draw them in yourself. Yeah, this is where I made a huge mess and got paint all over my computer monitor and my phone and my supplies. But that's okay because it was the effect I was going for. But most of the white ones, because there is more white than blue freckles, they covered up the darker ones, so I have to like go back in with the dark and re-add those, but that's okay. So yeah, here I'm just adding the darks again. It's messy, but that's fine. I try to be very neat when I'm doing the video, but I am a very messy artist, I think. Like I get so into what I'm doing that it's like I don't really care what else is happening, or, you know, where I'm getting paint or what is getting ruined, and then after the fact I'm like, oh no, I got paint all over my computer monitor. So yeah, I'm just anywhere that got like a little washed out from the paint, I'm just going over with the black again just to really make it pop. And then just to sort of like blend in the freckles a teeny bit more, I just add more pastel. More of that medium blue. And just go over those things with the white to really tie it all together. And yeah, after this point, that's when I added the glossy varnish to the eyes, just like the irises and the lips, which I really like doing, but it does make them harder to take photos of because the light reflects in ways that you can't really control a lot of the time. I find I'm really bad for taking photos of the dolls that I make. I'm not a photographer, so yeah, I find they never look as good as they should when I just take pictures. So this is the finished doll, and you might be like, wait, she doesn't have any hands, but that's the fun foam. And oh, magically I turned it into armor. No, I worked on it for hours and hours and hours. But yeah, she doesn't have hands because I actually made her the little gloves to wear instead of her hands, because I figure Monster High hands come off and on anyway, so I don't have like a gloved hand that comes off and on. So how I made it was she has like a black bodysuit that's made from like a stretchy black fabric with a zipper up the front, and then I just sort of built the armor onto that. I had some trouble like, oh wait, how am I supposed to get the arm inside the sleeve? But eventually you'll see I figure it out. And then yeah, so it's got the zipper in the front, and then the front of the armor like folds up over to cover the zipper, and then it has like the little clasps that attach it to the shoulders, and then the arms are separate, but they are attached like just in one little spot, although one came off when I was putting it on and I had to reattach it later, but that's okay. And then yeah, it just all sort of like fits together. I mean, if I didn't want it to be removable, it would be a lot more solid. But like I said, I always like the doll clothes to be removable. I just find that's a part of a doll for me, so. Oops, there goes her hand. But because it is so tiny, like, it was a process to dress her, even though I knew how to do it because, like, I had made it. But yeah, with all the tiny little fasteners and stuff, it is a process. But it's one I enjoy. And then her boots are velcroed up the back. First I put it on, twisted, and had to adjust it. So yeah, hopefully you liked the video, and you know who Liara is, and you like how she turned out. If you did, then please leave me a comment and let me know, or just like the video. Like, that would mean so much to know that people actually like watching this process, because I'm not sure if they will. So yeah, if you found it interesting, let me know. And if there's stuff like, if you'd rather just hear music, let me know. If you'd rather just hear me talking, let me know. If you really want to see the process of making the outfit, let me know. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. And here's a picture of Liara with my other latest custom, Nephra. Okay, bye!